Larry Caputo absent from Theresa Caputo's birthday, fans and controversy. Today is the birthday of Long Island medium Theresa Caputo. On this special day, she organized a grand party and invited many guests. However, it is noteworthy that her ex-husband Larry Caputo's name was not on the list of invitees. Theresa doesn't want Larry to come in front of her or see her face, so she deliberately excludes Larry. Larry feels somehow humiliated and neglected in this incident. After the incident came to light, many fans criticized the decision, saying that it was not appropriate to ignore a former spouse on such a day, regardless of their personal relationship. It was a sunny April afternoon on Long Island, and Theresa Caputo's house was glowing with lights, laughter, and a sea of familiar faces. Balloons bobbed in the breeze, tables were stacked with glittering gifts, and the aroma of Italian dishes filled the air. It was Theresa's birthday, and she was celebrating in style. Yet amid the joy and celebration, there was an invisible shadow. Larry Caputo, her ex-husband, was nowhere to be seen. In a quiet home just a few towns away, Larry sat alone, watching clips of the party posted online. He didn't expect an invitation, but some part of him had hoped. After all, they had once shared a lifetime of memories, and birthdays used to be their favorite time together. But now Theresa had drawn a clear line, one that didn't include him. "I didn't want any negative energy on my special day," she had told a close friend, brushing off the topic when it came up. "It's not about bitterness, it's about peace." But fans didn't take it lightly. Social media lit up with opinions. Some stood by Theresa, saying she had the right to choose her circle. Others were furious, calling her cold and heartless. That night, as fireworks sparkled in the sky above Theresa's house, Larry stepped outside. He looked up, smiled faintly, and whispered, "Happy birthday, T. Hope you're happy." He turned back into the quiet, his heart heavy but not angry. Some things, he knew, were better left in the past, even if they still hurt. However, it had been 3 years since the Johnsons lost their only son, Ethan, in a tragic car accident. Since then, every birthday, every holiday, and every quiet Sunday morning was a painful reminder of what they had lost. Karen Johnson, Ethan's mother, barely smiled anymore, and her husband, Tom, coped by burying himself in work. One evening, while watching television, Karen came across an episode of Long Island Medium. She had heard of Theresa Caputo before, but grief had made her a skeptic. Still, something about Theresa's warmth and sincerity made her pause. When she learned Theresa was coming to Long Island for a live reading, Karen bought 2 tickets without telling Tom. They arrived at the event quietly, unsure of what to expect. Dozens of people gathered, each with their own stories of loss, clinging to hope. Theresa took the stage, her energy filling the room like sunlight through a window. Midway through the session, Theresa stopped, turned toward the Johnsons, and said, "I'm seeing a teenage boy. His name starts with an E. Ethan. He says he passed in a car accident. He's showing me a baseball glove. Did he play baseball?" Karen gasped, clutching Tom's hand. "Yes," she whispered, tears in her eyes. "He's saying he didn't feel any pain," Theresa continued softly. "He wants you to stop blaming yourselves. He says you were the best parents, and he still hears you when you talk to him at night. He's always in the kitchen when you light that candle, and he loves the birthday balloon you leave at the tree." Karen broke down, sobbing. Every detail was something only their son could have known. For the first time in years, Tom wept openly too. Theresa smiled gently. "He says, tell Mom and Dad I love them, and it's okay to live again." That night, as the Johnsons left the event hand in hand, the air felt a little lighter. The pain of loss didn't vanish, but for the first time, it came with peace. They had said goodbye, and more importantly, they had heard Ethan say goodbye too. However, the Marino family had always been close-knit. Sunday dinners, birthday parties, and holiday get-togethers were sacred. So when 26-year-old Emily Marino passed away suddenly from an illness no one knew she had, it left the entire family shattered and confused. Emily had always been bright, vibrant, and seemingly healthy. No one, not her mother, her best friend, not even her twin brother, had any idea she had been silently battling cancer for over a year. The pain of losing her was unbearable, but the mystery behind her silence haunted the Marinos even more. Why didn't she tell them? Why did she face it alone? A few weeks after Emily's funeral, her mother, Joanne, heard about Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium. Though skeptical, grief pushed her to make an appointment. The rest of the family reluctantly agreed to go with her. When they met Theresa, she greeted them warmly, instantly sensing the heaviness in the room. "Someone's coming through strong already," she said, eyes wide. "She passed recently. Young woman. She kept something hidden." Joanne gasped. Theresa continued, "She says, tell them I didn't want to be remembered as sick. I wanted to be the happy, strong me in their memories." Tears flowed freely as Theresa channeled more. "She says she watched over you every day. She didn't tell you because she didn't want your last months with her to be filled with pain and worry." Emily's brother broke down. "She always protected us." Theresa nodded. "She's showing me sunflowers. Does that mean anything?" Joanne sobbed. They were her favorite. The session gave the family something they desperately needed: peace. Emily's reasons, though heartbreaking, made sense in the way only love can. As they walked out into the sunlight, Joanne whispered she was brave, and somehow, through Theresa's gift, they felt Emily's love still surrounding them, strong, silent, and eternal. However, it was a crisp autumn afternoon when three siblings, Rachel, Michael, and Emma, walked into the cozy, dimly lit space where Theresa Caputo held her readings. The loss of their parents 6 months prior had left an unspoken tension among them, each dealing with grief in their own way. They hadn't come looking for answers at first, just peace. Theresa greeted them with her usual warmth, her Long Island accent cutting through the heaviness in the room like a comforting breeze. "You guys feeling nervous? That's okay. Spirit's already chatty today." As they sat down, Theresa closed her eyes. "I keep seeing a man with strong hands. He keeps showing me a watch. And a woman with soft curls, she's humming. You are my sunshine. Does that mean anything to you?" Rachel gasped. "That's Dad's watch. He wore it every day. And Mom used to sing that song when we were kids." Theresa smiled gently. "They're together. Your dad wants Michael to know it's okay. He heard the last words you whispered in the hospital. He says, 'You were always my little champ.'" Michael's eyes filled with tears. He had regretted not saying more. "I told him I was sorry I couldn't do more." "He knows," Theresa said softly. "He says you did more than enough. And your mom? She's holding a locket. Says she wants Emma to have it. Said you always played with it as a kid." Emma nodded, speechless. "The locket had gone missing during the funeral arrangements. I thought it was lost. She says it'll turn up soon. Check the coat closet." Theresa paused, tilting her head as if listening to a faraway voice. "They're proud of how you three stuck together. Even when you disagreed. Your mom says, family fights don't mean we don't love. It just means we care enough to feel." In the silence that followed, something shifted. The weight the siblings carried began to lift. For the first time since their parents' passing, they looked at one another and smiled. As they left, Theresa waved them off with a wink. "They're always with you. You just gotta pay attention to the signs." That night, Emma checked the coat closet. There, in the pocket of an old jacket, was the locket. However, it was a snowy evening in Hicksville, Long Island, and Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, had just finished decorating her famously dazzling Christmas tree. Twinkling lights danced across her living room, and the scent of pine and cinnamon filled the air. But something felt different this year. As Theresa sat down with her peppermint tea, she suddenly felt a familiar sensation, tinkles down her arms, a warm presence in the room. "Oh boy," she whispered, her eyes widening. Spirits here. She looked around, and there, near the fireplace, shimmered a faint figure of a woman in a vintage red coat and fur-trimmed hat. Theresa blinked. The spirit smiled softly. I'm Clara, the spirit said gently. I used to live in this neighborhood, a long time ago. Every Christmas Eve, I would host a party for the whole block. Laughter, music, lights. It brought people together. But after I passed, the tradition faded. Now, everyone stays indoors, and the magic is slipping away. Theresa's heart ached. So you want me to bring it back? Clara nodded. Just once more. Remind them what Christmas is really about. The next morning, Theresa sprang into action. She called neighbors, baked cookies, bought decorations, and even convinced the grumpy Mr. Romano down the street to lend his front yard for a sleigh display. Word spread, curiosity grew, and by the evening of December 24th, dozens of families gathered on Theresa's lawn, wrapped in scarves and smiles. Theresa lit a single candle in Clara's memory and told everyone the story. This party, she said, is for a woman whose spirit still watches over us. Clara wanted us to feel the joy, the connection, the love. As the first snowflakes fell and carolers began to sing, the lights seemed to glow a little brighter. Theresa felt a warm breeze brush her cheek, Clara, passing through, leaving behind the magic of Christmas. That night, for the first time in years, the whole neighborhood felt the true spirit of the season. However, the sun was just beginning to set over Long Island when Theresa Caputo pulled into the quiet suburban neighborhood. The golden light filtered through the trees, casting long shadows on the walkway leading to the Andersons' home. She took a deep breath, feeling the familiar energy shift that signaled someone was already waiting. Inside, Sarah and Michael Anderson sat close together on their couch, hands tightly clasped. Their eyes were tired, worn by months of grief. Their son Jacob had passed away in a car accident nearly a year ago. He was only 17. Theresa walked in, her presence calm yet electric. Hi, I'm Theresa. Thank you for having me. They exchanged soft greetings, then sat in a circle around the coffee table. No candles, no dramatic music, just silence and the buzz of something unseen. I'm feeling a young male spirit, Theresa began, closing her eyes briefly. He's showing me a baseball glove. Did your son play baseball? Sarah gasped. He was the pitcher, all through high school. Theresa smiled gently. He's saying, tell Mom I hear her when she talks to me at night. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. I do, every night. I tell him I miss him. Theresa continued, her voice steady. He wants you to know it wasn't your fault. He says, I made a mistake, but I'm okay now. I'm with Grandpa. Michael choked back a sob. My father passed 2 years ago. Jacob adored him. For the next half hour, memories flowed through Theresa, specific words, songs, even a silly nickname only Jacob used. The room, once heavy with sorrow, began to lighten, as if Jacob's presence brought a breeze from another world. As Theresa stood to leave, she turned to them with one last message. He says, live big, laugh hard. I'll be in every sunset and every home run you hear. The Andersons held each other close. For the first time in months, peace began to seep into their broken hearts. Outside, the sun had disappeared completely, but the sky glowed with a soft orange hue, like a wave goodbye from a soul not truly gone. However, it was a chilly December afternoon in Long Island, and Theresa Caputo was setting up for a private reading in her cozy home studio, the scent of pine and cinnamon filling the room. Her tree sparkled in the corner, but something felt different that day. An unusual energy lingered. As she closed her eyes to begin the session, Theresa felt a sudden rush of cold air. There's a little girl here, she whispered. She's maybe 7 or 8. Very sweet energy. She's wearing a red dress, and she's holding a box, like a Christmas present she never got to open. The woman sitting across from her gasped. That sounds like my sister, Emily. She died when she was 7. It was Christmas Eve. A fire. Theresa nodded slowly, her voice softening. She says she didn't feel pain. She says it happened fast, but she's been waiting all this time, waiting for Christmas morning. Tears streamed down the woman's face. We kept her presents all these years. We never opened them. Theresa smiled gently, her eyes misting. She knows, and she's asking if you could open them now. She says she wants to share Christmas with you, finally. The woman nodded, sobbing. Theresa felt the warmth of Emily's spirit fill the room like a hug. She's so happy. She says she's not alone anymore. There are other children with her, and they sing Christmas songs together. Before the session ended, Theresa felt Emily's final message. Tell my family Christmas isn't about what was lost. It's about what still lives in love. And just like that, the air lightened. Emily was free. However, it had only been 3 months since Emily lost her husband, Mark, in a tragic car accident. Left to raise their 2 young children, 6-year-old Lily and 3-year-old Jack, Emily found herself drowning in grief and uncertainty. Her once bright home was now filled with silence and unanswered questions. One chilly October afternoon, Emily's sister Sarah suggested something out of the ordinary. "There's a woman named Theresa Caputo," she said gently. "She's the Long Island medium. I saw her on TV. She might be able to give you some peace, maybe even a message from Mark." Skeptical but desperate, Emily agreed. The following week, Emily found herself sitting across from Theresa in a small, warmly lit room in Long Island. The air was thick with unspoken pain. Before Emily could say a word, Theresa raised her hand and said, "He's already here." Emily's heart skipped a beat. Theresa closed her eyes. "He's showing me a little boy with a toy airplane and a girl in a princess dress. That's Jack and Lily, isn't it?" Emily gasped, tears instantly welling up. Theresa continued, "He says, tell her she's doing better than she thinks. Tell her I'm proud of her, and tell Lily she was right. I was there at her dance recital." Emily broke down. Just the night before, Lily had said she felt like Daddy was watching her from the stars. "He keeps showing me the kitchen," Theresa added. "Did you recently try cooking his favorite meal?" Emily nodded slowly. "Spaghetti and meatballs, last Sunday. It was the first time since." Theresa smiled softly. "He says it was perfect, even though you forgot the garlic." They both laughed through tears. Before the session ended, Theresa looked at Emily and said, "He wants you to know that love doesn't end, it just changes form. You're not alone, Emily. He's with you, always." Emily walked out of that room with a lighter heart. Life ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in months, she felt warmth again, the kind that can only come from love that never dies. Hello lovely viewers, welcome to my channel. I am Mina. Hope your day is so well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel.